in sustainable urban systems. And in the past, as ENBS 2012, it was just like many other courses here at Fenner, it was here on campus. This year, Fred and I have spent quite a long time, about 18 months in total, really planning and designing this new course, which is a 2-week in-country field school. And it adds to Fenner's portfolio of field schools, where we've already got the Vietnam Field School that runs in January, and my Fiji Field School that runs in July each year. Now we've got this Singapore Field School running for the first time this coming November. So if we can have the next slide, Fred. Now, about the course itself, it's going to comprise 2 periods of face-to-face learning. The first is a 2-day pre-trip orientation session that will be held in a weekend in September, and I'll give you the exact dates a little bit later. And then there is the 2-week intensive in-country field school in Singapore in November. And it's going to cover 5 broad topics that, you know, in a way, an umbrella for that is also climate. But we're going to cover food security, energy, water security, waste management, and living spaces. And by living spaces, we're referring to the built environment as well as green space as well. And you might already be aware of how Singapore is seen globally as, you know, at the top of the game in relation to managing those living spaces in relation to a very dynamic changing environment due to climate change, but also the pressures of population growth and the need for urban expansion and development. So in covering those topics in 2 weeks, we're going to be very busy indeed, but we're going to have the opportunity of really exploring how Singapore is very much a modern island nation, is very densely urbanised, but it's really managed to mesh those 5 broad areas really well and integrate them into its city planning. There are a few images down there in the bottom of this slide that show some examples of some of the places that we would be visiting. So when we're looking at really quite entrepreneurial approaches to food production, so you can have green farms, vegetable farms that are actually located on the top of buildings. There are fish farms out in the straits, the goat farm, and you can see some of the produce in wet markets in the city as well. Next slide. So the 2 weeks are going to be incredibly busy. Prior to actually getting in country, there is a need for you to undertake a online quiz. You need to be able to complete that prior to the commencement of the in-country trip, so that we know that you've undertaken some really important preliminary reading, so that you hit the ground running, you've got the background knowledge and information that means that everyone's pretty much similar in your understanding of this environment that you're about to be immersed in. During the 2 weeks that we're there, you'll have the opportunity to write in a journal on a daily basis you know, some of your reflections and some of the questions that arise out of your observations each day. And you can present that either as a vlog or a pod or a blog. I'm not sure what a vlog is. What's a vlog?
Video.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, I'd like vlogs. So that's really the reflective journal. It's a really, really interesting way of generating your own questions and really reflecting more deeply and also critically on some of the things that you've seen during the day, some of those questions that arise out of, you know, what sustainability means in this densely urbanised location. You'll have the opportunity to do group work on a project, and that's going to be small groups where you'll be working on a topic that will be, you'll have a number of options that you can choose from, and that work that you'll undertake in country means that you'll have some pre-trip opportunities to sort of set the scene and become very familiar with the topic itself, do quite a bit of groundwork. Then when you're in country, you'll see a broader context for that project and how your learning can be applied to generate a product at the end of it that might be quite a surprisingly different output than what you might have originally intended when you were first starting out on that. And that's really a project based around urban planning and management. And then after the trip, there's a post-trip essay that isn't due until mid-January. So the timing of this course is such that you finished your semester 2 classes, you've finished all of your assessment for those classes, you're free agents. This is the final activity for the year, and when this course finishes, boom, you can go wherever you like in the world as part of your own personal planning. And we're acknowledging that in terms of the timing of that post-trip essay, that it's due then well after the festive season. You need to be very aware of that due date and to keep it in mind and make sure you meet the deadline. But you've got time, and it takes into account your own personal travels over that period. Next slide. All right, so here are our dates. This sort of important information, very basic, but those are the dates for the orientation day. So that's the 14th, the weekend of the 14th and 15th of September. It's compulsory. If you don't attend that, which is an incredibly important preparation for the trip, you won't be able to come on the trip itself. So it is compulsory. I guess the in-country field trip itself is compulsory as well, because if you don't come, well, you don't learn anything. But that is 2 weeks from the 17th to the 30th of November. So put those dates in your diaries. The fees. Now, Fred and I have worked hard on this. The field trip fees are set at 1,500 Australian dollars that can be paid in 2 steps through the science shop. There's also the additional cost of airfares. And Fred, you found some rather good prices.
Yeah, so as of last Friday, I checked a budget airline, Scoot airline, and for a return trip flying out from Sydney is only about, if I'm not wrong, $550 for a return. Yeah, there's no frill, so that you don't get any baggage or anything. So if you want baggage, then you have to actually pay extra. Yeah.
So the airfares, it's up to you which airline you would choose. But if you use some of those budget airlines, the cost is really low. And you would need to take into account cost of meals and local transportation, which we have estimated at approximately 8 to 10 Singapore dollars per meal, possibly a little bit cheaper, and public transport around $30 Singapore dollars in total.
So that is only just for the learning activities that the transport is about, but that does not include your airport transfer to the hotel and also your own personal travel.
Okay. And what's the current exchange rate? Because we've got Australian dollars.
So the current exchange rate is $1.11 of Aussie dollars for 1 Singapore dollar.
So it's quite healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. But take into account that exchange rates might vary. So that's information that's really important. If you're interested in taking the course, then go to, and you've probably done this already, you go to programs and courses on the ANU site and look up ENVS 2012, read through it, and you will see a link there where you can then submit an expression of interest. And the expression of interest, it's really important that you actually look at the question that's being asked of you and answer the question, because part of the selection process is your ability to really convince us that you're going to get value out of this course, that you understand how, urban sustainability is a really important issue currently and in the future. And also it's important for us to get an understanding of what you are going to bring yourself to this course. So, take your time to really frame your responses to the questions that are asked of you in that expression of interest. So we look at the program that you're in, we look at the answers that you've provided in the expression of interest, and we also look at your transcript as a way of doing the final selection. These field schools are very competitive, so do make sure that you put the effort into framing your responses as carefully as you can. And although normally one would do it at the beginning, I was so excited about starting this actual information session that I didn't introduce ourselves. So we're going to do it around the other way and explain that I'm the convener of the course. I know you, Lilia, and it's been a pleasure having you in water management. And also, Jason, I'm familiar with you as well. So I teach water management and I run the Fiji Field School here, and my research is based around looking largely at river systems and catchments and how they respond to climate change and variability, and also anthropogenic activities. And that includes catchments that are both natural and built. And this is the first time that we're running the course. So I'm really looking forward to it. And as I said previously, Fred and I have been designing and developing this course over the last 18 months. So over to you.
Hi, I'm Patrick Chiu. I'm the school education manager. So I've been working with Sarah for the past 18 months, as she says, to design and develop the course. So I come into this project as the local expert because I'm I was born in Singapore and lived in Singapore for about 35 years before I come to Australia. So I should say that I should have enough knowledge to actually contribute to the cause. And I think we are looking forward to the cause. It will be a very good cause, I think.
We think so. We're objectively biased.
Yes, and I think one of the things that we have is that we have quite a few good partners in Singapore, especially the National Park and also the National University of Singapore to actually contribute to the cause. So I think the content will be very enriching for you guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. And we've also got Vicky, who'll be joining us. Oh, you have to lean forward.
I've got to lean forward. Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm one of the comms officers at FENA. I'm also a PhD student over in the School of Culture, History and Language. And I will be joining as, I guess, pastoral care and the first aid officer. But yeah, my research is based on reconstructing past environments using proxies that we find in the environment. And I'm really interested in sustainability and conservation. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Singapore is doing and what we can implement in Canberra.
Exactly right. And Lindsay.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay. I work as a student advisor and student administrator in FENA School. I'm not directly involved in the course. However, I will provide advisory support and administrative support to the course. So if you are concerned about how this course is going to sit within your program, whether you have space to do this course, please feel free to reach out to me and I definitely can help you out.
Lovely, thank you. All righty. Well, I think that's all of the information from us. Are there any questions that you might have about the course, either in terms of its structure, its delivery, or just housekeeping types of questions? Jason.
I was just wondering whether we can expect to hear back from the applications.
Good question, because the expressions of interest close on the 14th of August.
Yes, correct.
So they'll close on the 14th of August. Going by what I do with the Fiji Field School, once they're closed, I try to get the selection process completed within a week. And then just because, and Lindsay and I then work on that together, it might be, say, 2 weeks maximum after that closing off of expressions of interest that you would be notified. That'd be about right, wouldn't it? Yeah, 2 weeks after the 4th. So about the 28th of August.
I was just wondering, with the selection of the trip, is it just based on our answers, like in the EOI, or is there anything else that contributes to that?
So the expression of interest responses plus your transcript. And then also those students who are part of our FENA programs, so like our BENSU programs, they have priority. So all other things being equal. And
Following on
actually
that,
something else, because I'm one of the key people who's doing the selecting. I'm really interested in seeing diversity across the people who are successful. So you don't necessarily need to be a straight HD student. I'm really interested in those people who are sort of might take risks and go out there and are doing courses because they really want to learn and broaden their knowledge base, or doing really interesting programs. Some people are very strategic in wanting to get those HDs no matter what, and have a fairly narrow field of study. But some really interesting people are those who don't necessarily have those HDs, but are very exploratory and are bringing something broader. So that's something that I'm also looking at.
Jason, you have a question earlier on?
Yeah, I guess that sort of follows on from what Lilia was saying. I was just wondering if there's any weighting between, I guess, the transcript and the answers that we provide.
I think we have to actually look at both broadly and then make a judgment from there. So we can't actually say that how much weighting for one against the other. Yeah, there's no formula to that.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's actually quite a complex process, looking at all of the information that's available to us. But it comes down to when we get everyone who's on board, it's always a really wonderful mix of people, all bringing something unique to the course as well. But yes, no hard numbers of weightings. Anything else?
I've just put a question in the chat box. If you guys have like 2 seconds to just answer, it just helps us understand how we can best communicate with you. It's just how did they hear about the info session?
Oh, thank you. And whilst you're answering that question, something to be aware of for this field school is that nearly every day is going to be full and varied. So it's a very rich program that we've developed, and it really incorporates so many different aspects of urban sustainability, really starting from the very beginnings of what Singapore was and how it became what it is now, and then looking at the present and sort of really unpackaging all of the complexities of this incredibly vibrant city that has got urban planning down to the finest of arts. So you'll be busy every day, but it's paced in such a way that you won't come out of it totally depleted, but we hope you will be energised by the end of it.
Yeah, and I think what we have planned is that we'll bring you to places that normal tourists will not go to. Yeah, which is very interesting places. Yeah.
Yes, you will definitely be seeing things beyond what a normal visitor to Singapore would see. So an enriching experience.
And some of the places we fight very hard to actually secure that, like for example, an incinerator to,
Yeah. So Fred has been absolutely integral to the process of getting this program to the state that it's in because of his knowledge of Singapore and the connections that he has. So much gratitude and appreciation goes to Fred for that role that he's played. Any other questions? If you have questions that arise between now and when you put in your expressions of interest, and I'm assuming that you will, just send me an email and Fred as well. I'll be on the Fiji Field School, as will the two of us. The two of us are heading off to Fiji this week. But if you email me, but CC everyone into it, I'll certainly get back to you and answer your questions promptly. So if I can't, Fred certainly can, or if it's an admin question, then Lindsay can. Okay?